With season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen on the horizon, I think it's a great time to check in on how strong our protagonist is and how far he's come. We see that Yuji first unlocks Curse Energy in June of 2018, eating one of Sukuna's fingers to save his friends and make sure Megumi doesn't divine general the entire school. On October 31st of 2018, the Shibuya incident happens. This means that everything we see Yuji do within the 2 seasons is actually just within a 5-month span of time, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. He went from fighting a third grade curse and needing Nobara's help to kill it, and it escaping them, to being able to actually box special grades by himself. We see that while Yuji isn't any match at the beginning of the series for a special grade finger bearer, and eventually Sukuna taking over and Yuji dying, he's not really anything special. But we come to find out later on that that's kind of just because he doesn't know how cursed energy worked. Like, at all. Whenever he revives, and Gojo wants to train him specifically by himself, it's really just to show how cursed energy works and how to make it flow naturally, which we see come into fruition in the Goodwill event. By the time of the Goodwill event, we see that Yuji's kind of a heavy hitter at Jujutsu High. Already seemingly Maki acknowledges him as a stronger person, Maki being currently the physically strongest person at Jujutsu High students. Now to backtrack a little bit, whenever I was talking about Yuji learning how to use Curse Energy, I'm not saying it's the most efficient thing possible. Whenever he learned how to use it, it was for basic things, like blocking, how to reallocate Curse Energy throughout his body, to where it's not so erratic. He even learned an ability called Divergent Fist, which is a Yuji exclusive, because his body naturally moves so fast that his cursed energy has to keep up. So what this means is, whenever he whacks somebody, he whacks them twice. It's a 2-for-1 combo. First by his physical attack, and second by his cursed energy. Now Gojo saw that Yuji could use this to his advantage to catch people off guard, saying it was actually a good ability, and not many people, if anyone, could actually perform this besides Yuji. But when Goodwill comes, he finds his friend, brother, more like, Toto, who says, "Hey man, that's not exactly the best way you could do that. Have you ever heard of this cool thing called the Black Flash?" Now, the Black Flash is an attack that whenever you apply cursed energy to your attack within a fraction of a second, it actually increases your power by the power of 2.5, which is an insane multiplier. After just an afternoon of being taught by the big beefy bruiser that is Aototo, Yuju is able to match the world record holder Kento Nanami in Black Flashes, landing 4 consecutive Black Flashes on Hanami. Starting off the fight with Hanami, Toto sends in Yuji alone, saying he's not actually going to help him and will let him die before he joins before Yuji lands the Black Flash. Yuji tries to land a Black Flash, but apparently his cursed energy is erratic. So Toto gives him a good old slapperoo. Once Toto tells him to lock in, Yuji concentrates, begins drilling on himself like a little toddler, but Hanami, so embarrassed for Yuji, just sits there and just takes the punch like a champ. What she didn't realize was that 3 more were coming her way, all Black Flashes as well, tying Yuji with the Black Flash record. Once Toto joins in, we realize this is a duo made for each other. Yuji basically perfectly adapts to Toto's technique instantly, where every other time we see it in the series, everybody else is super confused. This shows how high of a battle IQ Yuji has, especially his intuition and how to follow that. Over this entire fight, this is a big war of attrition, where Toto and Yuji are just landing blow after blow, both of them actually hurting Hanami. Hanami, not even thinking about getting hurt besides Noritoshi Kamo's piercing blood and the Divine Wolf. Throughout this fight, Hanami is just ramping up as well, but these two are just so insane that she doesn't know how to deal with them. It literally turns her from an eco-terrorist into a UFC-loving, fight-breathing curse. She realizes her true self from being a spirit to being a monster. And this entire time, let me remind you, Toto is a grade 1 sorcerer, and Yuji is keeping up with him perfectly. So, I mean, already Yuji is showing huge potential. I'm not saying that he is, like, on Toto's level quite yet, but he is a monster. But Goodwill isn't even the end of how strong Yuji gets. I mean, it is almost the end of Season 1, but he still gets even more insane. So we'll move on to the Cursed Womb Brothers after this. After the Goodwill event, Yuji doesn't really get into any action until fighting the Cursed Wound Brothers. Now, it's kind of hard to tell how strong these Cursed Wound Brothers are, seeing how this is their only showing, and they kind of did get dominated by Nobara and Yuji. But we know for a fact they were sent there to retrieve Sukuna's finger. That means that they were being comfortably sent to fight a special grade finger bearer. Now, these two were probably going to be able to comfortably take care of a finger bearer, which is a special grade curse, because we see later on that Jogo actually has 10 Sukuna fingers. That means that probably there were 10 finger bearers that had to be killed, meaning Kenjaku knows their strength and how strong you have to be able to take them on. So sending these two means that Kenjaku was comfortable that they were going to be able to handle the job. If I were to try to put a rank on either of them, I'd probably say that both of them are probably around first grade level, if not, then semi first grade. With their blood manipulation and poisonous blood, they certainly would be a threat for most sorcerers. And we see Yuji just kind of batter them around pretty handily in hand to hand combat. This is also where we're introduced to Yuji's affinity for poisons, where he doesn't really actually get affected by them near to the extent of most other people. This is likely due to him and Sukuna having some kind of relationship, and him being the host of Sukuna. Starting off in Shibuya, whenever Ino is actually paired with Yuji, we see that Yuji punches a barrier, and Ino says that he is as strong as Nanami, Ino being a student of Nanami himself. But judging by Ino's surprise at how strong Yuji is, this likely isn't even referring to Nanami himself's full attack power, but also probably taking into account his ratio technique, which makes it to where whenever Nanami hits at a specific 7-3 ratio, he does extraordinary damage compared to his normal attacks. So going forward, we kind of have to take into account that Nanami's 7-3 ratio technique is Yuji's baseline, and this kind of tracks too the further we get into Shibuya. Now entering into Shibuya, the first fight we see from Yuji is he's going up against a grasshopper curse named Kogai. Kogai is a pretty strong curse because we see that it actually has the ability to speak and think and have thought. It's a pretty clever spirit. But we realize that throughout this fight, Yuji is just cleverer. He is a monster. This Kogai fellow has 4 arms, but can't keep up with the monster that is Yuji Itadori. Despite having the 2-arm advantage on Yuji, he does not land a single hit on the man. I mean, Yuji is just demolishing this. So the grasshopper is just like, hey, I'm just going to stab him with my butt. But that doesn't work. Yuji's just like, well, it's time to do some plastic surgery on that thing, and rips it right off. Going on to the inverse man, as his nickname may imply, whenever you hit him, you're doing the opposite of how you hit him whenever his technique is involved. So whenever Yuji punches him hard, it means nothing. Whenever a rabbit kicks him in the face, it hurts like hell. Yuji and Megami are 2v1ing this guy. Yuji just casually just tosses a car at him, but then after a little bit of figuring it out, Megami, being the brains of the operation, figures it out. Megami, while fighting the Inverse Man, says to himself, or thinks, I should say, that, hey, it's actually harder to fight alongside Yuji than it is to fight the seasoned veteran of a sorcerer. As soon as they figured out his technique, this guy was done. Yuji was throwing combos out of nowhere that this guy could never see coming, slowing down punches while Megami was trying to hit him hard, and vice versa. After Old Man Inverse is dealt with, everybody decides that, hey, we need to go get Gojo out immediately, otherwise things are going to get real bad. This is where Yuji finds his other brother, Choso. Choso starts off with a mean attack called Piercing Blood, which allegedly moves at the speed of sound, which hits Yuji, but he's able to redirect it and dodge it, escaping with a few gashes and scrapes, but nothing too bad. Yuji surmises that he has about a 50-50 shot of dodging this speed of sound attack. Throughout this entire fight, Mekamaru is coaching Yuji through how to get close to him and how to actually win against Choso. So, Yuji actually sustains a lot of damage. He gets stabbed in the foot, blood exploded in his face, and eventually his liver is completely pierced and nearly destroyed. So through their hand-to-hand encounter, Yuji actually has most of the upper hand, but isn't actually capable of putting him down because Choso has so many tricks up his sleeve. And despite this, Choso actually, to be able to keep up in hand-to-hand with Yuji, has to use an ability called Flowing Red Scale Stack, which this vastly improves your physical damage and output. Despite having all the odds stacked up against him, Yuji's able to throw hands with this enhanced Choso. But because of all the other blood shenanigans, Mekamaru decides to tell Yuji, hey, go bust some sprinklers up in the bathroom and make it a real close quarters combat. In there, Yuji actually kind of has the upper hand. It's pretty close. Flowing red scale stack still in play, but what eventually makes Yuji lose is the fact that Choso used flowing red scale stack to block a lot of Yuji's attacks, negating damage, then allowing him to put the final blow on Yuji. Choso taking the round. After Sukuna wakes up and does a little bit of culling around Shibuya, making the population approximately 0, Yuji wakes back up and decides he needs to lock back in again after having a little bit of a panic attack. So later on, he runs up and finds his best boy and mentor, Nanami, just get exploded right in front of him, thanks to our resident patch-face man, Mahito. Going into this fight, we actually have to remember that Yuji has immunity to Mahito's ability, Idle Transfiguration, which allows him to tap into somebody's soul and alter the shape of it, which usually for most people is a death sentence, but because of Sukuna being inside of Yuji, it's a death sentence for Mahito. Now we have to remember that Mahito is currently split up into a clone version of himself that does not have Idle Transfiguration and the main body of himself, which blew up Nanami and is currently fighting Yuji. But he's still a special grade curse. And a little bit more context for this. Yuji is the only person here in all of Shibuya, besides Nobara, that's actually able to hurt Mahito. Everyone else cannot perceive their souls, and so they cannot cause damage to Mahito. So taking all of this into mind, Yuji's able to swap hands with Mahito making other transfigured humans attack Yuji, with Yuji having to deal with Mahito's hands turning into blades or hammers, or him becoming a snake, or something of the sorts. So Mahito and Yuji are boxing for a little while. Nobara is then on the case fighting the clone of Mahito. After a little bit of back and forth, Nobara actually lands a resonance, which directly affects Mahito's soul, therefore hurting the main body as well, which gives Yuji an opening to actually be able to land the meanest combo possible on him. After Yuji lands a Black Flash and then pins him to a wall with fists and kicks, Mahito decides, my best option is to run away. After Mahito flees the scene, he tries to link up with his clone, swapping places with it and giving Nobara a little gentle caress of the cheek. Yuji, then after the swap, punches Mahito's clone, which it immediately explodes, showing that it probably wasn't that much of a soul drain from Mahito himself, likely was not powerful at all, but then standing over the corpse of his freshly corpseified friend, Mahito decides to take advantage of it and immediately hit him with a Black Flash. After hitting him with that Black Flash, though, then he keeps kicking him while he's down. He just says, hey, I'm going to smash your face in. But right before he says, all right, it's the finishing blow time, we see Todo roll up, dropping some heavy poetry and bars, and says, brother, we are the exception. And that's when you know that this is about to be a gas fight, because we're seeing the bruisers lock in again. So with yet again, Yuji and Todo going band for band, bar for bar, and Mahito throwing every transfigured human he can possibly throw at them, Mahito decides, I know what I need to do. I learned this one from the blindfolded bandit himself, Satoru Gojo, and opens up a 0.2 second domain, which is quick enough to where Sukuna says, I'll let it slide because you're so ballsy. But also so quick that Todo's only able to open up the simple domain for everywhere except for his left hand. So Mahito decides, I'm going to make this a little pipe bomb. Todo, clutching up as always, is able to cut off his own hand and throw it away. It explodes, hits him a little bit, but Mahito's a quick bastard. So the first thing he does is he Black Flashes Todo, immediately putting him out of the fight. Now it's down to Mahito versus Yuji. And Mahito, after hitting so many Black Flashes, knows the shape of his true soul and goes with a form called Instant Spirit Body of Distorted Killing, because this child wasn't edgy enough. Yuji boxes with him for a little bit. Mahito aura farms. Yuji punches him and realizes this guy is tougher than whenever Choso had Flowing Red Scale Stack activated, and that he cannot hurt him. Yuji comes to the conclusion that the only way he can win is with a Black Flash. So what does he do? He sits there and charges up like he's gone from Hunter x Hunter about to throw a Jajanken. Mahito says, all right, bet, let's box. They throw punches at each other. Yuji and Mahito, one fist against another fist. Yuji is about to land, but because Mahito knows that you have to be so precise to hit a Black Flash, and he feels like Yuji's about to hit one, he's able to distort his body to where it doesn't land properly. Yuji's got a little trick up his sleeve. That little trick I called Divergent Fist earlier. Mahito was so pressed whenever he realized he got hit 2 for the price of 1. Now after that, Yuji charges up again. Says Jajanken. Mahito's scared. He doesn't know what's about to happen, but he felt like he could summon a Black Flash in that moment. Then Todo comes in with the best bluff a bruiser could do. And bam! Yuji hits a Black Flash. 4 farms on Mahito. Fight's over. Now, going over all the facts that we laid out so far, every fight that Yuji's been in through season 1 and 2, where do I rank Yuji? Well, we saw earlier that Yuji, without being on guard at all, after witnessing the death of his friend Nobara, was able to withstand a Black Flash and a barrage attack immediately after. We see Todo after getting his hand chopped off. Sad to see, but you know, it is what it is. We see Todo take a Black Flash and fully guard it and spits up blood. This is a weaker Mahito because Yuji's been throwing hands and hurting him quite a bit. And it's far more damage than Yuji has taken by anything Mahito has thrown at him. And especially that Black Flash. We also see that Yuji is able to consistently fight against special grades by himself and especially with the help of his friend Todo. Yuji is capable of hitting with the same impact of Kento Nanami, an easy grade 1 sorcerer, especially since it's a 7-3 ratio level hit, which is Nanami's whole thing. What Yuji does lack is IQ. He's got good battle IQ, but he's not as savvy with Jujutsu as he should be. But this is a 5-month novice of Jujutsu, and he is already easily a 1st grade status. Alright, we're going to do a quick rapid fire real quick before this video over. So this is going to be the Spanx UG. This is a 90% or above win rate. This is going to be anything from 50-50 to 90. This is going to be 50-50 and even fight. This is going to be more likely than not to lose to Yuji. And this is whenever Yuji is going to stomp. So, first off, Gojo, he's going to spank Yuji. Mei. We're going to say she's more likely than not to win. She is not physically comparable to Yuji, but because of her bird strike, it's so devastating. She's most likely going to be able to win because of her superior IQ, and she's actually just been a veteran in the Jujutsu Society. Now, Todo, I'm going to say that's a 50-50 right there. Because, I mean, my boy Bruza, he isn't as strong as Yuji, but he's got a 5,000 IQ. Just, he doesn't have the lethality that Mei has. But, again, grade 1 status. Yuji Kuna. He's going to kill Yuji without a second thought. Choso. He's more likely than not to win, but I'm going to put this below Mei. I think that Mei probably is going to be able to hold off Yuji while she's going to have multiple crows. Honestly, it's just, her fighting style is really good. Choso, we saw him fight Yuji, and it was a weaker Yuji than the end of the series. By end of series, I mean by the end of Shibuya. All right, Dagon. He's probably going to spank Yuji. He's just a beast. We see Nanami, who has comparable striking power to Yuji, say that he has infinite HP. Kijaku, he is going to be above Dagon. Jogo, above Dagon. Mahito is going to be more likely than not to win. This is going to be the closest to Spanx so far, at least, but still not. Yuji's actually capable of hurting him. Out of the disaster curses, Mahito is the most likely to lose to Yuji. Maki is getting probably. I don't see her winning against Yuji. Megumi, he's going to more likely than not lose to Yuji. Nanami is, I mean, he's just gonna get spanked by Yuji. I see Yuji just gets stronger and stronger throughout the series, but I see him he's going to be above Maki. Nobito more likely than not to lose, but he's just the fastest sorcerer. I don't know why I have Toda here twice. He's just that much of a goat. Toji is going to spank Yuji. Yuji does not stand a chance against Toji. Uh, then Hanami. Um, I'll just say more likely than not. It's less than 90%, but all right, Haruta. This is getting spanked the worst out of anybody. Ino is going to also be, he's going to be right below Nanami. Benito Flex Boy is going to be above Maki, but I mean, he's a one trick pony. This guy's getting spanked worse than Maki. Uh, there you go. Haruta is just going to be at the bottom of the list. I'll go ahead and tell you that. Kusakabe is going to be more likely than not below Mahito, but Kusakabe, we'll see more of him in the manga. He's just a really strong grade 1 sorcerer. Miwa is the only person that is going to be below Haruta. Nobara is going to be... Oh, never mind. Panda, more likely than not going to lose. I'm going to put Naobito above Megumi. Smallpox deity. We see that whenever this fights Mei. I mean, Yuji's just more physically beefy than Mei. He's gonna be able to break out of the coffins and I think eventually just beat this thing down. Its domain, it is not lethal like Dagon's or Gojo's, Sukuna's, or Jogo's. It's just not. So I mean, it's gonna lose. Urame is going to spank Yuji. No questions asked. Yuki. Now she shows up at the end of the series. At the end of series, by I mean Shibuya. She is a monster. We know that she's a special grade, but based off the show, we don't know exactly what her abilities are. Later in the manga, you figure it out. But yeah, she is above all these people. So yeah, this is the tier list I'm going to end off the video on and saying that Gojo slams, Sukuna slams, Kajaku slams, Yuki slams, Jogo slams, Toji, Dagon, Urame slams. Hanami, um, it feels weird because I actually do. Ugh, ugh. We know that you get up here. Mahito, yeah. Kusakabe, it's because he has a weapon and his simple domain mastery is just insane. Mei Bird Strike Choso is really close to 50-50, but because you're not always going to have sprinklers, Yuji's still going to win. But Choso is like really close to Yuji status. Todo, you know why. I think Naobito is fast, and I just don't see him actually going to be able to kill Yuji. I don't know. I don't know. I'll put him to 50-50 because I also see Yuji just like losing to just raw speed. He is the second fastest sorcerer, but he's probably going to show up to the fight drunk. Megumi, self-explanatory. He blatantly said it's harder to fight Inverse Man than actually keep up with Yuji. Yuji, I mean, unless he pulls out Maharaga, he's losing. Or, I mean, maybe Domain. But his domain's incomplete, so I could see Yuji being able to figure it out. Panda, I'm sorry, buddy. You're getting slammed. Yeah, like I said, Smallpox DD I already described. I'll put that above Panda, though. Yeah, and then these... I mean, Yuji is just a strong anatomy at this point. But yeah. If you made it this far, I want to say thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, think about leaving a like and a comment. It helps out a lot. If you want to see more of this content, tell me. What would you like to see me cover? I'll cover the manga in the future if you guys so choose. But yeah, we'll see. And please, it doesn't hurt. Hit subscribe. It's free. And it'll give you future notifications for any uploads I do in the future. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. Now to backtrack a little bit. Whenever I was talking about Yuji learning how to use cursed energy, I'm not meaning it in the most efficient way possible. He's learned the basics. The basics.